But bouncing to another hard game, you finished Sifu this week.
Finally.
Or more accurately, yesterday.
Yesterday. My God. Let me just timestamp this. Let me just timestamp this quickly.
Sifu.
Get my little footage going. I don't know if the frame rate's fine on my recording. I thought it was a little bit off. So let's see if it works fine. But yeah, so I have a much better understanding of the game now. I think when I spoke about it last week, I was still trying to wrap my head around its mechanics and its systems and whatnot. But yeah, having rolled credit and spent, I think maybe 8 to 10 hours finishing the game, I can confidently say that Sifu is a highly challenging game in a very different kind of way that I'm used to. But it's got that good payoff of if you play it enough, you start to get the muscle memory in, and man, what a great experience. Like, I think it's still a little bit rough around the edges. There are things about it that felt a bit off. But yeah, just to recap, you play as a student, basically avenging their master or sensei. And they don't quite explain this explicitly. I need to go back and read some of the lore, but you essentially have a talisman with 5 coins on it. And
that's the thing on his belt at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
okay, cool.
So when you die in this game, you age, you basically get older and you can respawn. Which sounds very weird because you're like that, okay. But it's done in a way that's, so you can see in the top left now, I'm 20 years old. I'm the youngest I can be. If I were to die, I turn 21, 22, all the way up to 30. And you get a game over state when you reach 70 plus because you're an old man. You can't get older than that.
Can't get older, yeah. After 70, that's when the arthritis kicks in.
Just listen, the shit this dude does at 70, I'm like, holy hell. You could be proud. But there's a trade-off on that, is in that as you get older, you do more damage because, I suppose the context is you have more experience, but you take you do more damage, but you have less health. Because you're older.
So that is the thing, because I remember last week I said I heard that, and you're like, I'm not sure if that's the
because
case.
I hadn't really, figured shit out yet. There's some balancing in that regard. But the game itself takes place over 5 levels. You get you earn experience as you play through them, and you can turn that into new moves, new combos, that sort of thing. And really, it's just about you stringing together and figuring out this game's fighting mechanics. To beat every boss at the end of each level. And in doing that, that's where the challenge comes in, because there's a lot. Like, when you start the game, there's just so much information thrown at you, and like, it really is overwhelming. But if you are watching the footage now,
this fight that you're currently having looks overwhelming.
Hashtag humble brag. This is the first level. When you start this fight, it is very difficult. But now I'm like, having played the game, I understand a lot better. I'm not breezing through it, but I'm not dying, which is...
Well, I mean, I've been watching, and it almost looks like, the trailers that they put out where it looked very, very straightforward and flowy in a way, because you understand the mechanics. And I can tell, like, you taking almost no damage and wrecking these fools, but I can imagine the first time you played this, this seems impossible.
I think the first time you fight like more than... In this room, there's probably like 10 people. If you fight more than 2 people at a time, it's generally like, oh God, don't get surrounded, find space. And I mean, if you watch carefully, there are times when I was getting attacked from behind, but I'm aware of it now, and I know how to answer it. And I think that's also something that comes with muscle memory in the game, because they do actually give you, like, outside of offense options, you do have a lot of defense options as well. So you can deflect, which is very much the same idea as Sekiro, where you can hold the block button, but you have a, quote unquote, posture bar that fills up. But if you tap the block button in time with an attack, you deflect it and you can counter attack. So that is good to do. And you almost feel like that's what you should do. But not very quickly, I learned later on that that's not the only viable defense. Like, you have a dodge, so you can just step out the way. But I think what is the more important one, which if you're playing this game and you're struggling, let me tell you, the importance of ducking down and up is like, it is the key to beating this game. Because the moment that clicked in my head, Like if you were to watch some of the fights I had earlier in the recording, it wasn't me deflecting. I was just ducking under punches and stuff, and then counterattack. You can still counterattack. It's not quite the same as if you deflect, because you stagger them a bit. But if you duck under a punch or under a sequence of punches, you can very much counterattack, because it's the end of the enemy's attack sequence, and like that is very important for bosses as well. Especially like the last boss is an absolute grind, because there's just so many combos, so little room to breathe. But the moment I figured out the whole duck thing in actually on the second boss. So second boss, I was really struggling because I was trying to deflect his attacks, and he's attacking with a staff. So it does damage, and it like really wrecks your posture bar. But the moment I was like, oh, I can duck under these attacks or just step aside, it like opened up the game for me. I was like, okay, this boss actually isn't that bad. And like I probably will play through this game again, because like I told you before we started recording, there's incentive to replay, in that like in the fourth level, for example, I found a key that opens up a door in the first level. So there are new areas to sort of, just go visit, and, to get collectibles or just other fights, whatever. I want to replay the game. And even now, this is the first boss, which I didn't struggle with too much the first time, but I did die a couple of times. Now it's just like, it's super straightforward. Like I'd take a few hits, but...
So if you die to this boss, is there a checkpoint early in this level that you spawn at?
No. So
you have to restart the whole level.
No. So you can. That's where the whole talisman comes in. Like if I die, I can just age up and respawn at the boss fight.
You
see, so it is clever in that way. It's like I think I mentioned this last week. It's this weird thing of the game is very difficult, but it's also somewhat forgiving in that you don't get to a boss, you die, you have to grind your way through there.
Yeah.
Try again. You can like you can trigger a game over state, by dying too much at the boss, but at least you have the option to just keep getting up and learning their combos.
But then if you age up too much in the boss fight, then when you get to the next level, say you start that level at like age 40, then you can only start that level at age 40 each time.
But you can repeat the level before if you want. I mean, that's what I did. So I got to the 5th level at age 30 only because like I made sure to like repeat the previous level that I, quote unquote perfected it, that I could beat the boss without dying too much. So yeah, it's I really had a good time with this game. It's one of those games where I didn't, I can't say I was like you or others. You're saying, oh my God, Sifu's coming out. It's this cool Kung Fu roguelite, whatever. It is a thing of, it came out, it's like, oh yeah, it's cheap on Epic, looks interesting. But yeah, I don't think it's for everyone, but definitely speaks my language. Like I absolutely loved the challenge of, rinse, repeat, try again. And then I get that satisfaction of like, yeah, I can fight this boss now. Like I've learned their tricks.
And how do the permanent upgrades work? Is it a case of I need to grind it out, get permanent upgrades, and then it makes earlier levels
interestingly,
easier?
there's 2 levels to the upgrades, in that when you find you get shrines throughout each level.
I was seeing you picking up like treasures or something like that.
Yeah, so there's like 2 to 4 shrines, and you could basically choose a permanent upgrade, only one per shrine. So for example, I can choose an upgrade that means I recover more health when I beat an enemy. I can choose an upgrade that increases my posture bar. I can choose an upgrade that basically gives my weapons more durability. Like those are the more permanent ones, not tied to XP explicitly. But then in playing the game, you do earn XP, and there's a whole separate tier of things you can unlock. But those are explicitly moves and combos. That mechanic is interesting because as you play through the game, you can unlock it. So, for example, if I start fresh, I haven't unlocked anything. I want to unlock a slide kick. So I can unlock it on that run. If I commit more XP throughout that run, I can permanently unlock it so that if I were to restart the day before, I'll now have access to it. It's actually this menu here if you're looking at the video feed. So you'll see the pink ones I've permanently upgraded. The black dots are ones I've yet to upgrade. Having finished the game, I've got quite a variety of pink dots of permanent upgrades. So it's an interesting take on the genre because I think it does introduce some new ideas, and yeah, it's what a fresh, different game that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did. Again, though, not for everyone. I think Like I'm not I say this like I've compared it to a fighting game, like a Street Fighter. But we have friends like we mentioned last week, Jeff and Darren, who just did not vibe with this game. They don't like it,
and they love Street Fighter.
And they love
both
fighting
of them.
games.
Yeah, they love fighting games. Yeah,
but
I think that's what scared me at first when people are like, "Oh, this feels like a fighting game." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this." But you and I usually vibe with the same games. So,
yeah. But I think I have to make the comparison because it is the thing of, timing blocks and learning combos and that sort of thing. Yeah, but I'd be very curious.
It sounds a lot like Sekiro watching it now even, it reminds me a lot of like you've got to get in tune with this game and like it's got to be a good balance of attack, and defend. Like if you're just defending the entire time, you're going to make zero progress. Yeah.
I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts on it because like I do think you would like it. But again, this game will be hit or miss for some people.
Yeah. But I think the difficulty is definitely a big factor that,
We
and I know for at least someone like Darren, like he enjoys challenging games, but he is very much coming to games for a sort of like a power fantasy.
Yeah.
So he's never got into any of the Souls games or even Sekiro. So it didn't really shock me when I heard that, this game was incredibly hard, that he just, it's not his style of play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's difficult though, because if like, and I know this is an immediate switch off for a lot of people, but like if you put the time in to grind, like if you're watching me play now, and I'm sorry to like #humblebrag, like I am doing very well, but only because I've played enough time that I now understand the game. Like this is now a power fantasy. Like I look
because
really good,
you feel like you understand it.
Yeah. So would recommend.
But it like took hours for you to get here.
It took a long time to get here. I mean, this is the second level. Even the difficulty spike from the first to the second level was like, so. Sorry, audio listeners missing out a little bit here, but if you're watching the video feed now, I'm fighting a new enemy type who's, more with kicks and whatnot. And again, at this point in the game, when I first played it, I didn't know much about ducking. I was more trying to block. But the moment I figured out ducking, like, see there, it's super helpful to just dodging, getting attacks in. I think I actually did.
I can see you ducking and dodging like way more.
Yeah.
Then you actually like deflecting, because I don't really see the enemies like stagger bar doing anything.
Yeah. So you'll see how I get up, I age a year, and that I respawn exactly where I am. But it's like it's a cool, unique mechanic. Like I don't have to start the level from scratch now. I can pick up where I left off, and it's
so weird for the enemies being like, Jesus, this guy just fell down and grew a beard. What the fuck's going on here?
The one boss uses blades, and when she kills, she's like, "What the hell? Like my blades won't fail this time."
Oh my god. Must be so confusing.
Yeah. But yeah, Sifu, great game. Play it. Really, really cool little underrated title, I feel.
Nice.